He also directed me to dismiss career officials responsible for vaccine policy without cause. I had refused to commit to approving vaccine recommendations without evidence. Even under pressure, I could not replace evidence with ideology or compromise my integrity.
Okay guys, we have one of the more insane videos we've ever done. I want to jump into a few clips of ex-CDC director Susan Monarez, sorry if I mispronounce it, sounding off on RFK Jr. and frankly corruption from MAGA Trump behind the scenes in the CDC as they were trying to direct her to throw out credible science, fire credible scientists, and hire partisan wingnuts. So leave us a like on the video. It gets pretty insane. Strap in if you can, and let's just get right to it.
He directed me to commit in advance to approving every ACIP recommendation, regardless of the scientific evidence. He also directed me to dismiss career officials responsible for vaccine policy without cause. He said if I was unwilling to do both, I should resign. I responded that I could not pre-approve recommendations without reviewing the evidence, and I had no basis to fire scientific experts. He told me he had already spoken with the White House several times about having me removed. For 3 decades, I have worked at the intersection of public health, science, and technology innovation, always challenging the status quo and welcoming the changes that come from research and discovery. Even under pressure, I could not replace evidence with ideology or compromise my integrity.
I can't downplay how serious this is. Like, of all the insane things they've done, this is maybe hands down the most alarming bit of, one, just smoking gun evidence of the corruption of this cabinet. Like, they can't deny it anymore. We now know, like, it's not speculation, right? How RFK Jr. isn't questioning the science. He's not trying to follow the truth. He's not doing science is when you question, like all these MAGA clowns said. He's instead trying to slip through unqualified studies and untested medicines. Do you know the millions of people he puts at danger doing this? The immunocompromised people who would be at danger if this happened, the children who, if they had their vaccine schedule tinkered with without even someone like the CDC director looking? Like, what are you asking her to do? Probably to enriching a few of his donors and then to replace the career lifelong professional smart enough to know something's up. He does not care about any American's health. He wants to put an inexperienced yes man who will do whatever he wants to say. Again, it's not speculation anymore. It's not perception from his actions that we're guessing on. It's something we now all know is happening. And the question now shifts to what are we going to do about it? Because this is an impasse for public health and we can't let the fascists destroy it.
Vaccine policy must be guided by credible data, not predetermined outcomes. As I wrote in my September 4th Wall Street Journal op-ed, I agree with President Trump. We should not hesitate to ask for proof about our vaccines. And I also agree with his most recent comments that vaccines are not controversial because they work. Demanding evidence is exactly what I was doing when I insisted CDC recommendations be based on credible science. I was never misaligned with the administration priorities. The goals Secretary Kennedy recently cited publicly, protecting the public from threats, building infrastructure, modernizing systems, investing in the workforce, and enhancing scientific rigor were the same priorities I articulated at my confirmation hearing and began advancing during my short tenure.
The problem is, like we were all saying, is that was just a guise to sell this to their ignorant base who doesn't know how science works, doesn't value science, and probably already has some mistrust sown into them politically. So it's easy to convince them that you're just questioning the corrupt status quo. You throw a couple bigs in there, like, you know, big pharma, big tech, whatever, and now you've got the cult hooked, no problem, no questions asked. The problem, the way you question science scientifically is with better science, right? And it's settled on vaccines, so the better science just comes to that same conclusion. We've long known this, and none of RFK Jr.'s claims are worth their weight in salt. And now we know for an indisputable fact that the questioning was not the goal, is not the goal, and never will be. It couldn't have been, right? Because they fired her for not bringing the correct answers to the questions. Correct being the ones they wanted, which means the true goal was what they planned to do next.
Secretary Kennedy told me he could not trust me. I had refused to commit to approving vaccine recommendations without evidence, fire career officials without cause, or resign, and I had shared my concerns with this committee. I told the secretary that if he believed he could not trust me, he could fire me. The next day, I was told I still had my job, but the secretary's expectations remained: approval of ACIP recommendations and dismissal of career scientists. I would not commit to that, and I believe it is the true reason I was fired. Tomorrow, the reconstituted ACIP will meet. Its composition has already raised concerns from the medical community. Based on what I observed during my tenure, there is a real risk that recommendations could be made restricting access to vaccines for children and others in need without rigorous scientific review. With no permanent CDC director in place, those recommendations could be adopted.
This is a lifelong professional, right? And again, no ties to big pharma like the other lifelong professionals, as RFK Jr. proudly said himself. Someone willing to question the status quo, unlike the other professionals, like RFK Jr. said himself, like Trump said so himself, who got one look at what these schmucks were doing under the cover and said, no way in hell would I ever have anything to do with this, and is now bravely sounding the alarm to the rest of us. This is what courage looks like. This is something no one else in the Trump administration has had the balls to do. There's nothing they can say about this lady. They're trying, right? I can't trust her, whatever, right? And MAGA, of course, is going to eat all of this up or hand wipe it away like it's no big deal. But this is serious. Like, this is insane. I'm like, there's millions of people that are going to be put at risk undoubtedly from this administration. And the saddest part is if you get rid of RFK Jr., there's 10 more insane people probably lined up next. This is, it's impeachment worthy in my opinion. What they asked her to do, the fact a cabinet official would be telling an experienced professional to go against ethical standards that we've decided in this country to pre-approve stuff without even reading what she is approving. That's malpractice of the highest degree. And to then fire those who know what they're doing without cause. Can any delusional MAGA clown please give me any comparable action from Biden or Biden's cabinet to this? Well, when they were the unqualified ones destroying the country? Oh, wait. Actually, I've got like 20 grand on an answer. Like, if you could give me one action, even half as comparable to this from Biden, I'll vote for whoever is the Republican nominee in 2028, because this is crazy. Like, we're here now. This is actual banana republic level scary stuff, guys. Not mask mandates, not Trump getting held accountable for his crimes, but when the CDC director is getting asked to approve medicines without reading what they are so these clowns can put you at danger to line their pockets. This is what all Americans should be worried about.